All right, is this thing going? Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Josh Peak. Can you guys see me? Is this too far away? I'm trying to gauge this out, so to give me some feedback. Is this better than the other way? All right. Here we go. And today happens to be Wednesday, the 19th of June of 2019. This is episode 115. Thanks for checking in with me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of this. If you guys are watching on the YouTube, you can see that I am sitting in my new chair that I just made. I now have two chairs that I've made. And the second one that I made is actually more comfortable than my first one. And it's going to be my chair. My chair I sit in when I do this. Mainly because I can be super comfortable in it. It's a bit bigger than the other one as far as the base. For those of you listening, the base would be where you sit. And it's it's cozy. I like it. It fits my body comfortably, like my leg height and everything. The other one is a little taller, even though the other one is a bit prettier with that cool arm that comes off the side. Anyway, you guys don't care. You don't care. You're out there doing your thing. You're working. You're trying to make some money. You're just like, dude, keep us alive. Keep us talking. Keep me listening. Keep me entertained. Dance for me, monkey. Dance. All right. So here we go. Stuff I heard, baby. Let's talk about stuff I heard. I just listened to a great podcast from this past weekend, Second Chance Church, Perry Noble, talking about Lazarus. Talking about, let's see, I'm going to get the title right because I don't want to screw this up. I try to give you guys some good information so that you can say that I did my homework, even though I probably didn't. June 9th, trust issues. We all have trouble trusting people or institutions sometimes, but what about trusting God? If we're honest, we all have trouble trusting God sometimes. Join us for week one of our new series, Dead Man Walking, as Pastor P, that's what he calls himself, Pastor Perry Noble, helps us learn how to move past having trouble with God, trusting God, but how to work through it. It's a very good sermon. He's a very good preacher. He makes it relatable to people in their everyday circumstances and doesn't mind saying, hey, listen, we all mess up. We all have trouble. We all struggle. It doesn't mean that we're not in this together and that we don't need each other. That's important. In there, he says something very profound. He says that if you don't like what you're doing, especially, he said, even when it comes to church, if you don't like what you're doing, then do something different. Like, literally do something different. Find something that you want to do and do it. And he's got a good point, how do you give your best self if you're not enjoying what you do? I used to be a big proponent of the argument where people would say, oh man, when you work, you should do what you love because then you'll never work a day in your life. And I used to think, what jerks these people are saying stuff like that, because this isn't Hollywood. People don't get to just make up dreams and then follow through with them. I mean, who does that? Really? In my world, the blue collar world, the world of struggle, the world of uphill battles, the world of holy cow, I got to figure out how to pay these stupid bills. In my world, those ideas, those dreams are pushed aside for what's available. What can I do? What are the things that I can reach? Even though my mom showed me first-hand example of how you can set your mind on something and you can achieve all of your goals just by going after it. She proved to me that firsthand you can have any goal in mind and you can achieve it if you go after it. She has lived a life of people telling her, you can't do that because you're a girl. You can't do that because you're a nurse. You can't do that because you're only a nurse. You can't do that because you're only a nurse practitioner. And the list goes on and on. People constantly telling her, you can't do whatever it is you think you can do because you don't matter, basically. They're telling her, you don't matter. Now, you gotta imagine that if you live that kind of life and people are constantly in your face about that kind of stuff and they tell you that kind of stuff, it can get to you. Like, you can get kind of pissed off about it. You can be like, you know what? I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that attitude. I don't agree with that philosophy. I don't agree with you guys telling me I can't do something because of whatever. I mean, that's like having somebody with a handicap and them saying, you can't do that because you're handicapped. And they're going, well, why not? Why can't I figure it out? Why can't I work around this? Why can't I work past it? I have a big love affair for work. But not just meaningless work, not just routine, mundane work. Work that actually changes in a way that helps people learn. And it matters. My work right now, I'm a trainer. At my job, I teach people to do what I know how to do. And hopefully it'll help them get better. Hopefully, through my work, through my effort, it'll help them become better at what they do, so that what they do will become easier. And at some point, they will be able to get that information and share it with others and help them also to continue to do what I do, what we do. I'm trying to help people get better. I'm trying to help people make a living for their families. I'm trying to help people, find their way, in a way. It doesn't always work. People are not really susceptible to listen. You can show people how to do things, and you're like, listen, this is the best way I've learned how to do this, and this is why, but I need you to follow these rules and do these steps. And if you do that, it'll matter. If you do that, all this stuff will pay off. But I need your help. I need you to follow through. I need you to do your part. I need you to do these steps. And they go, okay, yeah. And they're so busy to talk, the yeah, that they won't listen to you, and they'll just push right past you, and they'll do whatever it is they want to do, and they miss out. They miss steps. They take their own little liberties, and they go, no, I got this. I don't need to listen to you. You're full of crap. And they'll push forward. They'll push past you. Meanwhile, it's kind of like having a kid that you're like, listen, you can play here, but don't go over there, because over there is dangerous. Okay, yeah, sure. And as soon as you turn your back, they're over there. Wherever over there is. You get my point? I got a lot of guys that I've trained who do good when they're with me, and when they're off on their own, they do their own little crazy things, just like one of my kids. And there's nothing I can do to stop them. All I can do is try and show them the right way when they're with me. And hopefully it'll matter. Hopefully it adds up. And that's what we should all do. We should all strive to do that with each other. We should all try to help each other. We're very divisive in a lot of ways. And just like, the interview I did with Jamal Baines a while back, was it a week ago? We should try to include each other in our conversations. We should try to include each other in our goals. And we should look for people with opposing views, and instead of arguing with them nonstop and getting angry and violent, have a conversation. Have like an interesting a meaningful conversation where you really lay out all of the details and you say, listen, this is what I'm concerned about. These are what this is what my issues are. And if they have opposing views, go, all right, cool, that's your view, and I got my view, and they're opposing views. Doesn't mean I don't like you, and it doesn't mean that you're less of a person. We just have different views on this. The problem is when it plays into fear. And fear is a big thing. Fear is a motivator. I'm watching House of Cards on Netflix. I'm on the last season, and I'm struggling to get through it because the main character's not there. But in it, during one of the seasons, they're trying to win an election, and they're like, we need to distract the people. How do we do that? With fear. We're going to war. And they figure out a way to manipulate everything so that they can go to war, so they can control the narrative with fear. And fear is a big part of social media. Fear generates clicks way more than happy, good stuff. You show a bunch of puppies, they're like, oh, look, puppies, and they scroll past it. You tell somebody they're going to take away their guns, hey, listen, we need to have a debate about that. Let me put in my 2 cents worth. Type, 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 type. Fear. This is what they're doing to kids. Oh my God. Fear. Fear generates clicks. Fear generates revenue for Facebook and Instagram and all those social media sites. My church has decided to use fear recently. And I'm not happy about it. I'll be honest, I'm not happy about it. My church did something very divisive and decisive, and it was not what I would have done. Of course, we all have our opinions, and listen, it's like anything else. Everybody's got an opinion of how things should have been done, and of course, you don't know all the conversations, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It's just an external appearance of what you see. My church was founded by Pastor Perry Noble, Newspring Church. If you look it up on the internet, you'll probably find a lot of articles about Perry Noble that says that he was kicked out of the church for alcoholism and that his wife left him. She filed for divorce because of his drinking. You'll probably find a lot of articles where it talks bad about him, saying, yeah, he did this and he did that. He struggles with this. He struggles with that. I started going to Newspring because of a guy named Philip Bell. I worked with Philip Bell, and we had a friendship. And Philip's father was a pastor. And he and I talked in the past about how we're looking for churches, and we just couldn't find one that we connected with in our area. And then he started hitting me up out of the blue about this church called Newspring that was meeting at the Civic Center out by the mall. Just a giant arena. Hey man, come on out. I'd love to have you. Hey man, we're having a big thing this weekend. I'd love to have you. Hey man, come on out. Sit with me. Hey man. And he never gave up. He kept inviting me, even though I made excuses, and I was like, no, we're trying this other church out, and I think we're okay right now. No, we're going to do this right now. I think we're okay now. And he wouldn't give up. He just kept asking. And then we started going through some crap with one of our kids. And I told my wife, I said, I've been hearing a lot about this Newspring Church. And she's like, yeah, me too. A lot of my friends are inviting me. I was like, really? She's like, yeah. I said, let's go check it out. And we went. And we sat in the crowd, and the music was progressive and loud. And we're watching these giant screens where they're live broadcasting Perry Noble preaching from Newspring Church in Anderson, South Carolina. And I mean, you're in the crowd, you're looking up, and it's like watching a movie, but it's live. Well, like a small delay or whatever because of weather and stuff. But we're watching the sermon, and we can see him well. We can hear him well. A lot of churches you go to, I mean, you got to look around people's heads sometimes, and you can't really hear that well because he may be off on a tangent, his microphone may not be working, or there's a microphone and he's over here talking off on the side. But this is a live production deal, man. They got a good deal going. It's all set up for you to pay attention. And my wife is short. My wife's like, I can see. Like, this is great. But his lesson was so good. It was so relatable to not only me and my wife, but to our kids who were teenagers at the time. We walked out of there and we were like, wow, that was really good. Like, I really want to come back. That was our initial reaction. And it was our reaction almost every time that he preached. Wow, he was on fire today. I can't believe he gets better every time we hear him. And then We come to church one day and they say, oh, we have decided as a church that we are letting him go because he has a drinking problem and we've tried to get him help and he's refused help, and so we've let him go. And I'm like, this is the guy that founded the church. This is the guy that brought us in. This is the guy that made us feel like this was where we were supposed to be. And we had joined their serving team where you volunteer, you help out. And they have other pastors that preach. They've got several. And there is the idea that if you have one pastor with one congregation, that after a while the pastor gets burnt out. He gets tired of going to all the birthdays and the funerals and going to visit you at the hospital and going to see little Jenny's birthday party and going to so-and-so's wedding, and you can get burnt out really easily. And he was a pastor of a mega church with 19,000 people showing up on a regular basis on Sunday to listen to him preach. From 14 different campuses across South Carolina and overseas through the internet, and all throughout the United States through the internet, people tuned in on a regular basis to hear what Pastor Perry had to say. And after a while, it got to him. Because just like us, he's human and he has problems. He had doubt. He had fear. He was overwhelmed. He had social anxiety. It seems so counterintuitive for a guy who's going to preach on stage to have social anxiety. He's an introvert. He admits he's an introvert. Even though he's a bigger than life kind of person. He's 6'6". Big, tall guy. But he can get on stage and he can be that guy, and he can preach the word, and he can lead people to salvation. And we celebrated salvations on a regular basis. And then his teaching team took over. And listen, there's some good men with some good lessons. And they can get up there and they can preach some pretty decent sermons once in a while. But I would say that each of them has about 2 good sermons in them a year. And they take turns preaching. They've even got a few guests that come in and preach once in a while, and they're pretty good. But each of them has about 2 good ones in them. And they just lose luster. They lose the audience. They lose me. I'm in the crowd thinking, God, I could really take a nap right now, because I'm not listening to what they're saying. They're not relating to me. They're not helping me find the message. They're not doing their job. They're doing a job. They're doing a job for a lot of people in this room. A lot of people who want to hold up their little ticket and say, I've been here, I did it, see? And meanwhile, I just sit there with regret thinking, why did I come today? I just want to go home and watch Pastor Perry to see what he's doing at his new church on Second Chance Church. See, when they fired him, he went through rehab for a year, and then he decided at some point, you know what? I'm going to start another church online, and we're just going to have sermons online. I'm going to put it online. We're going to do podcasts, and if people want to listen, they'll tune in. And then he started doing some YouTube stuff. And then he started doing a crowdfund thing. Said, hey, listen, we're thinking about opening up an actual facility. If anybody be interested, we'd like to take donations. We're just gonna raise money. All the money that's sent to this thing is just gonna go towards the building. And people raised money. And within a short amount of time, he had enough money to start his church. And he did. In a physical building. People can go there all the time. They're in Anderson. Look them up. If you're ever in the area, stop by. And as soon as I could listen to him on a regular basis, I've been listening. Now, Newspring has decided to start talking to you about how we need to go to battle. And we need to be full of fear. And they're starting this whole series about the devil. And he's out there. He's going to get you. They've decided to go that route. Meanwhile, Perry's preaching about Lazarus and being raised from the dead, and how sometimes the lesson comes from going through things. That Jesus could have stopped all of it ahead of time, but he let you go through it so that you'd find salvation, so that you'd find the lesson, so that you'd learn. That's more relatable to me. I didn't go this past Sunday. I just didn't go. I could have gone. I had my alarm clock set. I got up, I got a shower. I was ready to go. I sat in the closet, looking at my clothes. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to fake it. I don't want to fake it. Today's Father's Day. I don't want to fake it. I'm not going. And I didn't go. I put on my hanging around the house clothes. I came out, had some coffee. When it was 9:15, I went on YouTube and I looked up the live feed for Second Chance Church. And I watched the sermon that I just listened to again today. That's how good Perry is. So, if you're out there and you're struggling to find a church and you're just looking for a lesson, you're looking for a sermon, just go online, type in Second Chance Church, and just listen to a lesson. If you want to hear some good ones, if you want to go back and listen to more, look up Newspring. Go back a few years. Look at the one that Pastor Perry did. I don't know if they're still online, but they should be. There's some gold in there, baby. Real gold. It's good stuff. It's good for your heart, good for your soul. Makes you feel like, hey, there is something to this. We all are a part of something. I can help out my fellow man. I can be kind to people. I can follow Christ. He's got a knack for all his flaws. And listen, we're all flawed. Whether you think you're listening to this going, not me, I'm perfect. Okay, sure. Keep with that thought. Let's see how that works out for you. So anyway, I recorded one of these on Saturday, and I have been a busy bee. I got a lot done. One of the biggest things I got done was this chair that I'm sitting in. This beautiful cedar chair. It is quite comfy, by the way. I spent a lot of time in the garage, and I did photos, I did video. You can see the photos on my Instagram, JTATPEEK. Also on the Stuff I Heard podcast Instagram. Can't remember exactly where I put them, but anyway, go check it out. And after I got done watching all that and got cleaned up and whatnot, I started watching the last season of Jessica Jones. Now, I talked a little bit about that on Saturday, about how good it was, and I was kind of sad that they were leaving, and Marvel was leaving Netflix and going with Disney. And I was worried that Disney's going to do this nerfing down process where they kind of make it cute instead of what it is, which is a bit vulgar and a bit rough, like life. And listen, this last season was violent. This last season, you get introduced to a couple of new bad guys. One of the bad guys you don't see coming until you're in it. The biggest bad guy is Salinger. He's something. He's a smart cookie, but he's nothing compared to the ultimate bad guy, which you don't see coming. You know what? Screw it. This is a spoiler. If you want to watch the show and you don't want to be spoiled, just skip to the end, because I'm going to talk about this probably for the next 5 minutes. The ultimate spoiler here in Jessica Jones, the bad guy turns out to be her sister, Trish. You learn a lot about Trish in season 3. You learn about her struggle. And Salinger kills her mom. I mean, savagely kills her mom. And it makes her so angry that she wants revenge. And in season 2, she got some kind of superpowers from some doctor. He injected her with a whole bunch of crap, and she became enhanced. And they showed a little bit of that in season 3. They show her, realizing, oh wait, I have some kind of ability here. What is this? She trains a lot, and she becomes like super durable and flexible and super karate girl, and she can hit hard and kick hard and break things. And I don't know that she has super strength, but she's just a little bit more enhanced than everybody else. She can also see in the dark, which is a huge bonus for her. The problem is in the show, she has a past. She was a child television star, and her mom pushed her into this life, and she gets recognized on the street. So she can't just be like Jessica and be a hero and save the day, because everyone freaks out that, oh my God, it's you. So she wears a mask. She figures out a way to put a scarf around her face so you can't tell who she is. And she gets away with some stuff. Like she really does. At the end of season 2, she kills Jessica Jones's mom because she's a psycho killer. I mean, she is. She's manipulating Jessica. She's a murderer, mass murderer. And so Trish saves the day, supposedly, by killing Jessica's mom, which of course has them at odds in the beginning of season 3. But at a certain point they make up and they become sisters and everything's great, and then it's not great. Then Trish's mom dies. When Trish's mom dies, dude, it is on like Donkey Kong. She goes into a rage and she goes around killing people. I mean, it starts off as her just beating them up, but then they die. And when they die, she feels better. Like she feels like she's engaged. She's almost like an addict. And there's another character in the show, this guy who can like sense when people are bad, and like the closer he is to people, the worse they are, the worse he feels. And he's with her when she kills 2 of them, and as they die, he gets this euphoric feeling of, oh my God, that's great, I can't believe it. They're finally gone. So she feels vindicated. She feels like she did a good thing. Oh, I made the world a better place because they're not here. And she keeps killing people. She kills Salinger. She catches up to him eventually and stomps a mud hole in his face in an elevator in City Hall. And Jessica has to eventually have a hand in getting her arrested. And there's a moment where she's sitting with the cop who's the official arresting officer. And he's telling her, you murdered so-and-so, you did this, you did that, you kidnapped so-and-so, you attempted murder of this, attempted murder of this person. And she's kind of listening for the first time. And she's a good actress. Whoever plays her is a great actress. There's a moment where she's shaking and looking up, and she goes, I'm the bad guy. It hadn't dawned on her until that moment that she was the bad guy. It's good. It's good stuff. Good writing, good acting. Really, really good stuff. So anyway, that's the end of my spoiler for that. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry I just ruined that part, but you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. It's so good. They did a good job. Marvel did a good job. Netflix did a good job. The actors, the actresses did a good job. Even Hogarth did a good job. Oh yeah, Hogarth's another bad guy. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I've talked enough. What do we title this? Do we title this Pastor Perry, Newspring, Jessica Jones? Spoiler? Maybe? I always wonder about what to title things. Sometimes the subject will just take over, but every now and then it's like, I don't know. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share with your friends. And what was it supposed to be? Oh yeah, cue the cow, baby. All right, that's it. Bye.